Dance with me, I want to romance you, you must agree. You're driving me cuckoo, girl, can't you see? My love is really true, I got to be. They want to control you, looking at you. I get a sensation out of the blue. You rouse me emotion, dance with me. I want to romance you, you must agree. You're driving me cuckoo, girl, can't you see? My love is really true, I got to be. They want to control you, looking at you. I get a sensation out of the blue. You rouse me emotion. You got to shake your body line. Make no mistake. You got to grind. For goodness sake, dance. You got to shake your body line. Make no mistake. You got to grind. For goodness sake,
dance. Welcome to episode 142 or 3 of the Corey Shepherd Podcast. Welcome back to everybody who's listening. Welcome to all the listeners. I hope you had a good long weekend. Our next long weekend in the books. I count about 5 or 6 back-to-back long weekend. And you see this long weekend and short weekend thing, they're messing up my timing because to tell you true, I really thought today was Tuesday.
To the tune of the jazz, do your thing, jump and prance,
dance. Hey, you see this episode? A lot of dancing happened this week, right? People went Stink and Dutty and people dance over their whole self in Stink and Dutty, it looking like, because Stink and Dutty can't seem to be incident free. We had to talk about Farley dance too, right? Farley do one of the great. Farley do a 3 weeks waltz. A 3 weeks waltz to come up with nada, nothing. There's a lot of dancing wrong. PNM and UNC doing an eternal dance. It's like a washing machine. One is the washer, one is the dryer. Next tomorrow, the next one is the dryer, the next one is the washer. Same set of people are recycling and the results is exactly the same. So I decided in this episode we will play some of the greatest dancing tune in the history of Calypso. Just dedicated to those who, the best dancers we have.
Darling, put your hand in mine. Well, you know how much I want you, down.
All the week was, boy, what they do with the long weekend. Let me say something too. Happy Father's Day. Let me tell you something. One of these days, right, in this, in all the different iterations of this podcast, I posted a picture last week of where the podcast started off and what I used to record on and what the room used to look like. And sometimes you have to look back, and see how far you come from when you feel like you ain't where you're supposed to be. It's a good idea sometimes to just take a look at where you reach. Because them days that no video, it was only audio. So I used to record however I want. Sometimes if I feel my back tired, I stand up and record, I lie down and record and all. Now I had to get something out of porn, something and all these kind of things. But we're glad to be here. But in some version of this podcast, right, in some iteration that we will come up with, we will give greetings before the day. So like last week, is when I should be telling all Happy Father's Day and telling them damn self Happy Father's Day. But since we miss it, I want to say Happy Father's Day to all the fathers of the Corey Shepherd Podcast. Should we talk about the single mothers too? We should do that, or we should leave that part out, you know what I mean? Sometimes it's better to leave out the single mothers. Let the fathers get a chance to enjoy themselves for once, man. We ain't about to hear from the single mothers. We go hear from all next week. But I see something on Instagram the back by a comedian here that I want to play a little clip of here because I think he summed up Father's Day well. What is all you do for Father's Day? All you do? Because I can tell you this, right? For me, I had the best Father's Day ever. They tell me we should go to church for Father's Day. When I turn my face, I say, oh God, yeah. She said, all right, well, if it's your day, you can do whatever you want. I say, yes. So I sleep the whole day. I lie down and they bring food for me to fatten me up whole day. I lie down. I ain't do one thing for Father's Day. And I think it was one of the best Father's Day I had in a long time. I finally, en route to recovery, so I went in the gym and trying to get myself back in a gear. And when I come back from the gym, food was laid out and prepared and brought to me lying down again. You know what I mean? It's the best Father's Day I've ever had. But we're taking something here from comedian Sadiq Ali or Ali Sadiq about Father's Day.
World. Father's Day is the worst holiday in the world. I've done the research. I already know. Let me tell you something. Mother's Day is the second most celebrated holiday in the world.
Right.
Christmas is first. So that means it's Jesus, then your mama. You know what Father's Day fall at? Number 20. I can't think of 18 other holidays. Do you realize Halloween is number 6? Does that mean ghosts and goblins go before fathers? Arbor Day is number 13. I don't even know what that is. I just know it come before me. That's crazy. Columbus Day is number 16. Celebrating Columbus Day is like celebrating somebody finding money in your house. Where you get that $50 from? I discovered it in your kitchen.
That pretty much sum up Father's Day to me. Salute to Sadiq Ali Sadiq, whichever one is supposed to come first, right? But that pretty much for Father's Day. And the thing about it, right, is if Mother's Day come and you don't have a bunch of plans for mothers, is a sour face, people vex your thing. You have to post them early in the morning, put them, and about 6 different pictures to make a reel. It's your mother now, your mother-in-law, your wife, your daughter, if she had children. It's a whole scene when Mother's Day come. And to tell you the truth, if Father's Day come and them forget to wish we Father's Day, we go forget his Father's Day. But salute to all the fathers for Father's Day, all the good fathers of the Quarry Shop and podcast. Salute the whatless ones too, man. All these fathers, yes, because we salute the whatless mothers on Mother's Day. Talking about whatlessness, I want to go straight into the great, unmatchable and unimitable Farley Augustine. Easily one of the greatest of all time, right? These people should be treasured and celebrated, you know? Because if you remember a few weeks ago, some recordings came out with Farley. Well, what I could say Farley Augustine comfortably now, based on what it was covered in the news. He come out and say it was him, right, being recorded. So I ain't clear now. Although I sure in my efforts to not say his name, I probably say his name 100 times over the last few episodes. But Farley come out and say he was recorded in the voice note that was sent around. Basically, if you remember, talking about hiring people for social media purposes. I want to get into this issue a little bit today. I don't want to bear with me a little bit because with local government elections coming up and more political topics to talk about today, I never want us to lose sight of the issues that politicians present us with of their own accord. Nobody didn't have to ask them nothing. You just leave them, let them talk, let the media continue to cover them, and you find that they will tell you exactly what they're about and what they're for. They will talk and say, I am this and you know, I mean, the next side is the worst and we fought right and we righteous and we honest and they're corrupt and this and that and we have the best issue, we have the best we want the best for our community, whether that community be a local municipality, a country, Trinidad or Tobago. We want the best for Tobago. You will hear all that kind of rhetoric. But if you just leave them long enough, them men just talk themselves down into a grave, you know. And again, salute to all my listeners in Tobago. I want to hear from men like QB from Mills. I want to know what is happening on the ground in Tobago. What is the situation? What is the feeling about Farley Augustine these days when it comes to his different politics and the fact that he's much better than what the opposition presents to us, and PNM is a waste of time and he don't care about the issues of Trinidad. He only have Tobago best interests at heart. But I want to play a couple of the recordings for you in some order, right? With Farley's responses to these accusations. Let me slow this down and break it down completely. Because last week I came here and say I was a little surprised at a few things. I was surprised that he was taking so long to respond. I was wondering if he was just either waiting for it to go away or hoping that it would go away, whichever one of the two. And if it die a natural death, then it is a win for you. Or I was wondering if he think that, you know, more and more stories would replace it So even though people know about it and so on, by the time he respond, nobody wouldn't care. I couldn't figure out what it was. I was also wondering about Watson Duke's silence on the matter and the detractors' silence. The Prime Minister say a few things I spoke about here. And again, my main issue with what the Prime Minister said was, he getting tape. Once I come out my house, I assume people taping me. I assume I being recorded. So the Prime Minister didn't seem to have much issue with what Farley was saying. He took issue with the fact that he's a neophyte and he don't understand politics and he don't understand that he could be recorded when he's saying something, which to me says what he doing is okay. And just as a reminder before I jump into the little clips, right? The core of the issue here is not Farley saying that he was hiring people for social media management. Just listen to the misdirection these fellas is using. Because hiring people to do social media management is not uncommon. A social media coordinator is a common job now. I was talking about Marcos a few weeks ago in terms of his business doing digital marketing, quote unquote. I was also telling you about things like Upwork and Fiverr and these places, even LinkedIn, where people always looking for social media coordinators or social media marketing people or even administrative assistants who can help post. I'll tell you as well that I recently hire somebody to post the podcast from we can't done. I'm not posting it no more. I can't do it. I cannot keep up with. A matter of fact, you know what's bad? When I finish talk, I can't remember what I say. Like, men is call me to talk about what. One of the most common things for me to ask when people call me about things on the podcast is what I say. I can't remember what I say. When I done. So I hire somebody, and just through Upwork as well, and she's Nigerian. Salute Anu. So when you see the post going out now, Anu is taking care of that. And we're going to get better and better as we go along, right? So expect to get more clips and everything coming out. But a social media coordinator is not an issue. I put out the thing saying I want somebody to post to Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Facebook, wherever the things are. Tag me, I could repost. And I work with her, and she has some great suggestions as to what we could do differently, what we could do better. So her role is to help me build the podcast by contributing to the social media content as well as the posting and so on. Make sense? That is not an uncommon thing in our job. In our company, we've had other companies to manage our social media. Don't want to watch your social media presence. I think great. But we do it all the time. It's common. I just want to be sure that when you're listening to this, you understand that that was not what Farley was saying. Farley was not talking in the original voice note about hiring somebody to do social media management or push content. The discussion was, get people to go and respond to what is happening in the public space via Facebook profiles, whether they are false or real. It don't matter if it's a fake profile. That's what the man say. And you could put them on THA payroll. There was never a discussion about hiring them for THA as a social media coordinator, because I don't know why you need multiple social media coordinators if you go and hire people for the THA. As somebody who care about the public purses and the betterment of Tobago, I would think you hire one very good social media coordinator and let them do all the posting and manage that process, right? Or hire an agency or a company. So don't get distracted. No, that was never the discussion. The discussion was give them jobs in THA. Find things for them to do that they could earn a salary that is lucrative. So in other words, hire them as a clerk one. Hire them as a accounting person. Hire them as somebody who's bring coffee and tea. Or somebody, even a custodian, whatever the job is, it did not matter in the first recording. Just get them on the payroll, that way you're getting the money. And what we're paying you for have nothing to do with accounting, coffee, tea, cleaning, or nothing. You're getting paid and I'm giving you this job with the understanding that you are going to push the agenda, not of the THA, the agenda of the, what's Farley party name, the FHA? The FAA, Farley, Augustine, and them. Right? You want to push the agenda of the FAA from a THA position, paid by the THA, paid by the public servant, paid by the taxes of both Trinidadians and Tobagonians that going into THA. And that's what he was going to hire people for. He was going to hire people to give them a job, because the woman on the voice note was clearly saying, well, some of them doing it anyway, they will continue to do it, but we had to make sure that they could eat. Let me don't forget what I was about. But let me jump into his response just about a little over a week ago about whether he would respond or not, right?
Information on the audio. Well, I know a lot of people in the media want me to talk on their time.
Right.
That's one thing I don't do.
No.
I set my own agenda. The media doesn't set my agenda.
Evidently.
But beyond that, I will speak extensively on the issue. And I could tell you this is more than just an audio tape and involves some security considerations, extremely serious at that, that requires me as leader to ensure I spend enough time mulling over it. I think somebody asked me today, said, well, it's about 21 days and you ain't talk about it yet. But the truth is, it could be 21 days for couple school, but I only need 1 day. Right? So be very, and I can also say with a very high degree of confidence that when I speak on this issue, myself and the executive will be properly exonerated. So I have no fear at all. So don't lose sleep over it. In fact, by the time we get to the end of this week, you will hear much more extensively about this matter and some others as well.
So again, the man come out and say he's supposed to talk on his own time. He's not being rushed by the media. These statements could be so tricky, boy. In other words, the public is waiting for a response. Your constituents who put you in place there, or people who didn't put you in place there, but who are now governed by you, are like me so, waiting to hear a response from you because you come and present yourself as something different, something new, something progressive, something committed. You know what I mean? Just what we're looking for, something as an aside from the ketchup and mustard that we're accustomed dealing with over here, right? And you present yourself as that, and you had a clean sweep. You beat people bad. Don't mind you had help from your partner, right? You had help from your partner, but regardless, it seems to be that people still have confidence in you because you kick out your partner and you're still in charge, and I don't know how much of a groundswell they're having. So we, the public, waiting to hear from you. But notice the way these politicians talk, right? He not saying the public pressuring him for a response. No, you see the media pressuring him for a response. Understand what I mean? All the media doing is asking the question that the people want to hear. The media, the reporter, they're trying to get the best stories that they could get so that they could sell the papers or the articles, or even as on a selfish personal level. So I could keep my job and continue advancing in my organization. I had to be able to get the most interesting stories. So if there's something that a lot of people in the country want to know, is the role of the media to go and find that out. Me and you can go and talk to Farley just so, but the people who are responsible, or the people in the media who are there at press conferences or anywhere outside of parliament, or when THA have assembly meeting and so on, they will be outside. They will ask the questions that the people want to answer. That is the role of the media. So to put it as though, and this is not Farley, this is every single politician and all the leaders we have. They love the media just before they will win the election or lose. And as soon as they get in there and they get asked the same questions that they themselves, when they were on the outside, was pressuring the political party that is in control. As soon as they get on the inside, the media is a problem. So the media pressuring him to give a response on this. Not so much the people wanting a response. I mean, come on, who wants a response? Nobody. Whatever Farley do, he do, right? We not concerned about that as the population. So that was 21 days or so and counting, and clearly he was feeling the pressure. And I always remember the statement on Narcos. The statement on Narcos was like, it was when a popular newscaster was kidnapped by Escobar, and she was the daughter of a former president. And the statement that the narrator made in Narcos is that when you're in politics, it's not the public pressure that is getting you, it's the internal pressure. So that statement to me seemed like the internal pressure was getting to him, and they were under some pressure to respond. And that's what he came up with, a delay or a holding statement to say that, don't worry, I go respond. He man say 21 days, but Crapo could get 21 days, but only 1 day for school. And people clap for that. It's the greatest thing I've ever heard. But he went on in his public briefing, backed by what seemed to be the whole THA behind him, or the whole FAA. Me, you know who's them. Them have a color. Because they didn't look too coordinated, you know. But the whole FAA standing behind him, Farley Gustin and them, and make a statement that went a little bit like this, right? This is a statement.
This audio tape that you hear is an old recording.
Just now, here we're going on, Anybody could help between Farley, Rowley, Duke, all of them. Anybody could help them to stop saying audio tape. A little bit again, say cassette. I doesn't know. All right, let me go back to it.
This audio tape that you hear is an old recording. And yes, this was a closed door strategy session. And I will show you why the detractors, how they are just wicked.
Wicked.
Because they very well know the nature of these conversations. And there are two reasons. In the first instance, when you have an executive,
right,
you have to explore all strategies.
Really?
Including those utilized by your opponents.
Right.
All.
Right, all.
And let's be real. The strategy of bringing people in who will live on Facebook and do work for you, that has been explored before us. The people who are making noise from this program with Gavin Waters and company, community partnership, what else you get paid to do? Community liaison. Not be on Facebook every day.
So yeah, you see the little dance there immediately. He dancing away from me. He almost trying to make it sound like the hiring of social media coordinators, or as he say, people who on Facebook whole day is not uncommon. And this is not the issue. The issue is that only trying to put people in place on public funds who pushing the party agenda. I don't understand. And you know, he's sliding as a use or no. Firstly, if you had a strat planning meeting over the weekend for companies, right? That meeting lasted about 4 hours and I was dead tired, completely exhausted when it done. So I would love to know what strategy meeting politicians is being that could exhaust every single strategy that you could come up with. In other words, you're trying to tell the public that you have to explore all strategies. That is garbage. When you come to this table on a strategy meeting, better you be prepared to discuss these strategies that we're talking about. I understand when they do brainstorming sessions, they say there are no bad ideas and so on, but them take a time limit. So if it is you saying in a strategy meeting, so you're trying to say basically here that a strategy meeting is behind closed doors because you have to say all kind of different things that you might not want to come out to the public, and the public should only hear the final version of this strategy. I am not sure that is the truth when the discussion that you're having is about things that could be illegal, could be immoral, could be against what your party. But again, politicians, maybe I should stop trying to talk over politicians because the politicians have a morality of its own on politics, as according to Basdeo Pandey. So the fact that you're coming out and trying to say, well, here what's going on. We would exploring all options, including the ones our opponents use to say that, well, all right, them just use it too, which clear to me based on Keith Rowley's statement in the beginning, right? It's clear to me that everybody does this. I kind of want to know how all you're doing it. Because if Keith Rowley, or Kamala Prasad Biseso, or Gary Griffith, or Philip Alexander, well, Philip I hire nobody, right? Philip managing his own social media. If them hire somebody to manage social media, to push the party agenda, I find that is reasonable. I find it's fair. I find it smart and shrewd in this day and age. I have no issue with that. That is what they should do. As a matter of fact, when Kamala Prasad Biseso and them hire Cambridge Analytica, as documented in that Newsday, what do you call the people again? Netflix docuseries. Can't remember the name of it, no? Some digital thing. I find it smart. A political party in today's age has to figure out how to digitize its marketing and push what it's doing. You can't pen and paper it or brick and mortar it again, and you can't newspaper and radio it to death. The people who read the newspaper and radio is like me and you, so you can't do it. You have to find digital strategies that are easier to reach youths and easier to reach the general population. Let me just say youths, right? So I don't have no issue with that. I don't have an issue with Farley and the FAA. Put that in place and push the party. The issue is clearly, are you going to hire somebody with public funds to push the agenda of the party, masked as the agenda of the THA or the agenda of the government? Are you going to call the person a manager of finance, but their role is really to do Facebook, and he used the word propaganda as well, and also said fake profiles. But let me do preempt him. Let me hear what he's saying again.
What they be doing and walking at ground but on Facebook every day. That's what they get paid to do. But guess what I did? I closed it down. Look at the evidence. Look at the evidence. Show me how much people we hire to do that kind of work. So
You see, the issue is that he didn't say he was going to hire the people to do that kind of work. People was going to get hired for something else.
This
So
audio-
when you try to make it sound now, like we could look at the evidence, it's have no evidence to look at. If it is you have people behind fake profiles or people who hired for other reasons, but they're really on Facebook all day, what is the evidence we could look at, Farley?
And evidently, it wasn't executed as discussed. Which clearly shows that this is a government that is working.
Yeah.
You discuss all strategies,
Right.
the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the indifferent, everything.
Of course.
You look at the possibility, you go home, you sleep on it, you get up, you come back again.
Right.
And there's a reason why cabinet meetings are protected by law. There are reasons why the discussions of an executive is protected by law, because you're expected to have these raw conversations that are not expected to be heard everywhere.
No.
What the public should really be seeing is what you execute. But I'm glad this is out.
I too.
I'm glad this is out, because it showed that we discuss it, we considered it, and when you look at the facts, we ain't hire no team know about that just on Facebook are peddling rumors. This leak, as unfortunate as it is, it proved to us the kind of colleague we had in Mr. Duke.
So you see the thing come full circle. Salute to you, Farley. About a month worth of thinking and sleeping over thing, and must be the same team who you say ain't high on Facebook must be reading and responding to comments over the last week and only say it ain't working. So after about 4 weeks, you and your whole team had to come behind you to make that statement. one of the worst is about 20 minutes worth of nothing was said about this issue. And the issue wrapped up by saying, it shows the kind of person we had in Mr. Duke. He started by saying the video was old, the voice note was old, and it end by saying that is the kind of colleague we had in Mr. Duke. The main focus of the thing was just like what the Prime Minister's main focus was. The main focus was the fact that it being recorded. Not that we was doing nothing wrong, or not that if we have any issue if it was doing wrong. If he was doing wrong, we had no issue with that neither. The issue is that we had insinuating that we had a colleague there who would record and release his statement. Salute to you. For 20 minutes worth of nothing. Watson Duke threatens lawsuit over claim. This is from the Express, right? This is last week as well. Political leader of the PDP. Still have that? Political leader of the PDP, Watson Duke, has threatened to take the Tobago House of Assembly Chief Secretary Farley Augustine to court for alleging that it was he who leaked an audio clip of two people discussing using THA funds to pay workers to spread propaganda. If you believe that I have leaked the tape, why do you keep saying tape? If you believe that I have leaked the tape, I'm going to give you a date in court. Duke warned Farley yesterday in a Facebook video. You can also expect very soon a letter from my lawyer so he can produce evidence that I taped a meeting. Why would I tape it? Duke asked. He said he knew Augustine hated him a lot. You can't stand me. I could do this in Watson. You can't stand me. I simply brighter than you. I'm more good looking than you. I'm a leader. You're not a leader. You're a punk. During a public briefing yesterday, Augustine admitted that the clip was from a strategy session held with THA executive members more than a year ago. In other words, he's saying that Watson was there. He said he very well believed that Duke was the source of the leaked clip. More politicking as far as I consider. Even the statement by Duke is a little bit more politicking for me. You know what I mean? I would be surprised if he carried them to court. So much two of them have been through together. And I'm not living in a world where I would be surprised in any way if these two fellas kiss and make up and all of a sudden is PDP, FFA, or some kind of thing work out where everybody join back together when the hammer fall. Election coming in. It's all kind of strange. It's all kind of strange things to expect. But in more dancing news, right? The dance continues. As the election comes up, you start to see more and more issues like this rated. So if my belief is that Farley and Watson could make up any day, it has to be driven by this by two things that are happening now too, right? We only want to start with with the alliances or the unalliances, or what is the opposite of alliances? The de-alliances or alliances. These fellas and them in politics is something else. I remember a very old clip, right? A few things I remember. One of them is a very old clip with Trinidad Killer, who coincidentally was fighting this weekend with Swappy. I don't know. That man had a drunk box-off. Fun it looked like, right? NCW was the referee and they had a drunk box-off in what do you call the place? Stink and Dutty, right? Now Swappy, you remember how Swappy was when he now come out? Swappy was a skinny little fella. He was no big guy, but Swappy clearly taking fitness very seriously. There are some soca artists who should do a little soca collaboration, exercise, weight loss thing for Carnival. No, them men go make big money if they make a Billy Blanks kind of P90X insanity kind of situation. If them men come together and join forces, they could do a thing, you know. And them Calypsonian or soca men is Swappy, Benjai, and Maximus Dan. Because them fellas transform right before we eyes over the years, right? Them fellas transform over the years into whole different people. When it comes to the fitness and the strength and them kind of thing, them fellas get they slim down, they get big and strong, they get fit. You know what I mean? 2 out of the 3 like to pose naked, that kind of way, you know what I mean? To have a little nudity in the posing and the performances since they get to be strong men. But if them fellas come up with a workout cycle thing, like how Pablo are fit addicts and, you know, it's are the groups, right, who's do training. I wonder if 3 of them don't want to join forces and make a Thanos kind of training thing for Carnival worldwide. They could go on to all over the world, and you could imagine how much money Billy Blanks make doing this thing. Them fellas should come together. But anyway, them had a quick little box off and them thing and Trinidad Killer had to run out of there. But I remember Trinidad Killer and a fella by the name of Senator Obika having a little bit of a cuss out, a little bit of a tiff, if I remember that video going viral. And it was about Trinidad Killer, either one out of 2 things. It seemed as though either he perform or do something for the UNC, like in the campaign, and write a song. I think it was a song he write for one of the campaigns for one of the people who was running for whichever constituency. And Obika seemed to be the person who had to release the man check, and he couldn't get a check, and it was a cuss out with he and Obika. And Obika was basically telling them, listen, that is it for you. We are using you again. And I suppose as an artist, particularly as an upcoming artist, the little checks from the political season might be very important for you, right? Me and if Trinidad Killer still in that same position. Or it seemed as well that it could be Trinidad Killer just saying, well, give me an opportunity to represent UNC. It might be a little bit of both. I also remember another video going viral where Stuart Young was talking in Parliament. And Obika, he had I mean, when you heard the clip the first time, I really didn't hear Stuart Young say anything like this, right? But Obika jump up and the thing starts up and make a big uproar. The speaker had to get up and think, he say, see, he called me asshole. He called me, I say, but what kind of thing is this? But I suppose I myself shouldn't be surprised by anything inside the parliament and them kind of things, no? Because it's like, it's like anything goes sometimes. So they fall out and it was a big uproar, and then they get put out of the chambers, put out of the parliament. Obika had to go. I see over the weekend UNC having the Monday night forum and the doubles and coffee and several different iterations of what would be promotion for the party basically. And a big part of UNC's strategy, probably guided by a company like Cambridge Analytica, is don't bother to present no set of policy about what we're going to do. Just bad talk anything the government do, anything that happen, just bad talk it and say it terrible. And that is what is going to be a winning strategy. And they're doing an excellent job of that. So when I see the way Arnold Roberts talks about PNM, or the way Saddam Hussein or Barry Padarat, when he used to talk, what about he? Since he make Charlie become father, happy Father's Day, Barry Padarat. Since you make child and thing we hearing from you as much. But you have some politicians who, when they talk about the opposing party and they talk about the corruption under the leader of the opposing party and the wickedness, and to call man rapists and all these kind of things, sometimes you just wonder if them from the same world we in, you know, because it's 2 sides of the coin. I don't feel that way about nobody. I try my best not to have no hatred for anybody. I don't have any hatred for anybody. And when I feel it bubbling up, I try to address it with myself to try and figure out, well, what is about this person annoying me, or why this person getting to me so much? And when I see it, I go tell you. I can't hold water too long. I can't keep it inside. You know what I mean? My bladder small. And when I see it, I got to let you know, hey, I ain't like what you do, or I ain't like how you move, or we got to talk it out, and we could part ways. And best believe that when we part ways, I good. I don't have no hate for you. I all have is love for you. If you feel like you come back and talk to me a day, you can talk to me now. As a matter of fact, it's common for me in the same conversation to tell people things I do what they ain't like, and still talk to you and laugh in that same conversation, because it's not about what they say. love the sinner, hate the sin kind of thing. Me, Jesus, but I kind of just live like that. You know what I mean? If you do something I ain't like, I mightn't like the action, but I don't like you any less. So for me to develop that kind of hate in me where I could stand up and say bad about you like that, and that you're a rapist and you thing and you're outside child and you thing and you're a young girl and then if I do that for so long and talk about you, I don't see myself being able to cross the floor and just work with you very easily. Is that immature of me? That's what I want to know, What does all it take? Am I immature because I can't see past the differences I have with people and cross the floor and start to work? If I feel that way about you, we're not going to be able to work together. If we fundamentally oppose to each other in terms of our values, then how I go work with you if I know you raping my man and you there? And if I have issues, I take those kind of issues with you and those kind of matters. I don't know. I feel like if I join you, I'm co-signing all the things that are said about you. And then the flip side is also true for me. If it is you hell-bent on this throwing mud on my character, like I take my name seriously, I don't like my name to be in the mud. And again, it's the same way as well. If me and you supposed to be good, or even if we don't like one another, let me say it's business, right? And you have a competing company. I always remember a fellow, a good youth, maybe I ain't gonna call his name, right? A popular promoter. And them days I have a website, trinisongs.com. We're gonna take pictures and do write-ups on song clash issues and them kind of thing all over the country. And I always remember collaborating with people. It's just like the podcast, we started off not knowing where it will go. And once you start something and you come out in the public space, you find that other people who like-minded start to reach out to you and call. So this guy at the time was a videographer. And he called and we started link up and thing, and we went parties together, and I said, well, all right, well, we have all the photos. We could give you all the photos. You could give us the videos. We will try and sell the videos. I don't know how to monetize the website yet, So we was trying to get salutes like Umber, Doggy Slaughter. Plenty of people help us and trying to figure out, okay, if we record the dance, because them times all the clash and them thing wasn't being recorded in Trinidad really. So if we were able to record the dance, would we be able to then sell them CDs or sell the videos? So me and this man, we make a little collaboration and working together. And then a friend of mine who turned out to be a mutual friend of ours called me and tell me, she said, boy, I just want to let you know that if I know this person. And she said, the man real bad talking to you, saying you're a thief and I'm a smart man and I take your videos and I never had all kind. Well, I don't have time for that, I was shocked because he never said anything to me. But my first action is to pick up that phone and call. I said, my boy, I didn't want to owe the person who tell me that, but maybe you shouldn't tell me nothing like that, because anytime you tell me them kind of thing, I go and pick up the phone or I go and pull up by whoever the person is. And I call him, I say, but boy, is that one way it is? Because it had to be a misunderstanding. I could understand if you feel that way. But I want to clear it up one time, because me a thief and nothing from you. I broke like hell, me making $1 from this website. What it had to thief? Maybe I should find out what it had to thief so I could figure out how to make some money. But I call him and he denied. He said, boy, no, I never said nothing like that. I said nothing like that. And then I said, all right, cool. I said, but anytime you're feeling that way about something I do, don't let that develop into no thing. Call me. Let me deal with that one time, because it might be true. You know what I mean? Maybe I thief, I might a thief. But we could square up that little thief into one word. You know what I mean? I don't know that we had to make yourself enemy and hatred. So I'm not sure that it would be easy for me to receive somebody who talking like this about me, or trying every step I make, every mistake I make, they're highlighting. Everything I try, they put, they saying it will fail. They want to talk about me. They want to talk about my family. They want to say the worst thing about Sharon and thing. It's the same sort of people. And then they cross the floor. And I somehow okay with now meeting with you and laughing, and we have functions, and now you're home by me, and I don't know that I could do that. And I'm saying so because of my character, and I know myself, right? I would have made attempts to talk to you and say, well, hey, that is not so, You see, that you're talking about, they were child and twins. I don't want nothing to do with that. Even if we're colleagues, working relationship, I will address it with you. A part of me also want you to say them things to my face. A little part of me I want you, when you say all them things, I want you to watch me in my face and tell me, boy, you big rapist and thing, and let me, you know what I mean? We still men, so you know how that could go. But more than that, you know what I mean? I really just don't want anybody to go away with a bad impression of me. If I could clear up something, I will clear it up. And now I want you to stop, especially if them rumors ain't true. I want you to kill that. But surprisingly to me, on the page of the Prime Minister, Dr. Great Honorable Keith Mervyn Augustus Rowley, it says an open invitation to former UNC members and supporters. There comes a time where your country must call. There's no better time than now to leave the UNC. If you believe that what Naked did is reprehensible, if you believe that Ratty Ram should not be in parliament, or far worse, should not be on the screening committee of your party, if you believe that what you envision for your country does not include life sport and the vulgarity of Anil Roberts, if you believe that your leader must not hope to qualify to lead you by lying about state policy on taxes, I think they'd say they're putting some inheritance tax in place, right? If you are disgusted by your party being silent on the scandal that just unfolded and was confirmed in a Miami courthouse, yet the preparations find solace and active support in the voice of the UNC leadership and more and more and more, come to death row. He said it matters not what journey we took. It matters not what journey we took. But what matters is that we arrive at the desired destination, and in this, it matters not what journey we took. But what matters now is that we arrive at the desired destination, and this is Station Trinidad and Tobago on platform number 1. So this is apparently from the Facebook page of the Prime Minister. I don't know if it's his personal page or the official page of the Prime Minister. It's probably personal page. So my question is this. I don't know how you feel. You think if one of the names he called here, Naked, he calls some names, right? Naked, Ratty Ram, and Anil Roberts. You think if one of them crossed the floor, he will welcome them with open arms? Because he basically saying it's an open invitation to former UNC members and supporters. In other words, those who are defected. UNC seem to be having some problems internally, right? UNC clearly having some issues. And there's a brokenness, a little bit of factions being developed by those who feel Kamala Possessor should lead us into her 199th lost election to make it 200 or not. And some might feel that she's the best person to lead because they have no next person to lead. Right? We'll get to them in a little while. But when some people resign and leave the party, this open invitation was sent out. And my question is, Anil Roberts has changed parties already. He used to be in COP, now he's in UNC. Or probably still in both if COP still exists. But he clearly diehard UNC. I mean, should I be using the word diehard at all? If Anil Roberts tomorrow was to come and say, listen, I want to cross the floor in the same way that somebody like Gypsy did and now Obika has done, Senator Obika. Are they welcome with open arms? I find it hard to sit down next to somebody. And maybe I underestimated what happens behind the scenes because these fellas might come together and might say, Kitos, well, yeah, you apologize. You know, it is with them party thing. I had to say what the party had to say. What these is never things I mean. It are no allegations. It are no evidence of these things. You know, the political picong is go. And then Robert say, Anil, you know, I mean, them kind of things very hurtful and Sharon and my family. And then he say, boy, forget that now, man. Here what we go do. And they started to strategize immediately and hopefully know what's in Duke is there to record the meeting so that nobody hear the ins and outs and what you're bringing to the table. Because Anil Roberts might well go and say, but I saying them thing about you, but you see what I could do already. I have a show 5 days a week. I the most consistent man here. When I back in here, you know. And I know nothing about Kamala Prasad Biseso. So I just go fire at you for 10 years. I could fire back at you and they say, well, all right, we go work it out. So I don't know. I don't know how people feel about this. Am I being naive? Maybe I am being naive. I don't know. I don't see how. And these things just make me lose a little bit more respect for these politicians. I can't handle it. I can't do this. I can't do that smiling thing. And maybe I looking at the pretentiousness the wrong way because I see a picture here with Obika, same one who say he and Siot Young fall out and have the worst to say about the PNM and personally and professionally. Shaking hands and smiling with Laura Lazama Leasing, who I think is a PRO of the party, right? PRO of the PNM. So this is upon Obika's swearing in. You're swearing as a party person or you join in the PNM, right? You sign up if you form to join. And two of them smiling with each other. And I look at these things and say, but I can't do this fake smile thing. I can't pretend. I can't. I don't want to do it. And maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe these are the genuine smiles And the fake part is the, oh, you think I only like woman in South and you're minding on woman and all that too wicked and you think I only like his rum. And maybe that is the fake part and I thinking that he smiles fake. But let me read from the news there about Obika just to keep people up to date. And I'll say this, right? I wasn't going to say nothing about this, but this, you see things, when things like this happen and they lead up to election and it's going to have issues like this every week. I miss Naldo and Judah. I wasn't going to say nothing. Because I know plenty happening behind the scenes and so on, and the Alternative Perspective podcast on a little pause. But issues like this, I miss them fellas talking about these things. But anyway, political analyst Dr. Bishnu Raghunath does not believe the departure of ex-UNC Senator Tahakwa. Any botching up that name is not deliberate, right? Tahakwa it looking like. Political analyst Dr. Bishnu Raghunath does not believe that the departure of ex-UNC Senator Tahakwa Obika to the PNM will seriously affect the UNC or how it performs in the local elections. I agree with you 100%, Raghu. How it going to affect? Nobody don't care. Once you under the Balize or the, what is the UNC thing? The Rising Steel? The Sun? The Rising Sun? People, them party lines, people vote along those lines all the time and then a little minority or miso will complain about this and either vote or don't vote or whatever it is and affect very little. Raghunath branded the switching of allegiance of Obika and 3 former councillors who won their seats on a UNC ticket in the last election but have since crossed over to the PNM as political opportunism. He said, I don't think Obika brought anything to the UNC except to say he's a representative of the old NJAC. No, that was the Rising Steel. Which signed an accord to form the People's Partnership. What about NJAC? What are they up to? It also speaks highly of his integrity, having worked as a chief economist in the office of the leader of the opposition up until Friday morning, while negotiating with the PNM and becoming a member of the party by Friday evening. Raghu, this is not uncommon. This is not new. Obika told the Newsday that he submitted his formal resignation to the UNC on Friday morning, and mere hours later, he filled out his application to join the PNM. I guess if you're a career politician, you have to find some way to join or form your own party, right? And so far, between Gary, Watson, Philip, I am so sure you want to join them. A video posted on the PNM Facebook page shortly after 3 p.m. showed Obika wearing a red tie seated between PNM General Secretary Foster Cummins and Education Officer Laura Lazama Leasing as he filled out his application. It was then approved by Cummins. The two then shook hands with Obika, welcomed him as the latest member of the party. Newsday contacted UNC Pro Dr. Kirk Mehu, who is the UNC PRO? Public Relations Officer, right? Who appeared surprised by the departure. He said, I don't think that's accurate, and asked the Newsday to send him the video clip as verification. Megu busy like hell. You feel Megu studying this? Imagine you see PRO. PRO means public relations. Is your job to know what it is happening in the public domain and respond to it on behalf of the organization. he find out about this when Newsday call him. So who Obika submit his resignation to? Because if Obika resign, I would think that anybody who resign would be a matter for some response by the organization, right? The organization had to say, well, thank you for your years of service. You know, there's no exit interview too. Like you say, how come you leave? What is it saying? Or you about boss treaty? What you think about the package, the work environment? UNC. Whoever they submitted to must use busy. They must use getting ready for stink and dirty because clearly nobody see the resignation. The PRO him know the man resign, much less that he signing up with PNM and thing. And he had to ask the media now. He said, you could send me that. Send it to me on WhatsApp now. You know when little thing leak and Tusty men is being in a group. Who had the video? Who had the video? Cook me, who say send me the clip now, let me see it. After that, there was no further response up till press time. Strategy time. Turn off all tape recorders. Raghunath also commented on 3 local government councillors who recently left UNC for the PNM. He said Sheldon Fish Garcia, the lone UNC councillor in the PNM-controlled Arima Borough Corporation, was originally a PNM member who seized the opportunity to contest a seat for the UNC when his own party had rejected him. Raghu, you're starting to sound a little... What's a good way to not say the word biased? It's starting to sound not very balanced in your approach to this analysis. Well, okay, Raghunath said Samuel Sanka, former councillor of Warrenville Kelly Village, who directly disobeyed his leader to attend a meeting with the Prime Minister and local government ministers, seem to be have been heading to PNM for some time. Defend your party, Raghunath. That's what you're here to do. We must see what they list Raghunath job as. Political analyst. All right, Bishnu. He added, I wonder what he will say about the third person. He probably saying that, well, the person, you know what I mean? The person is very honest and forthright, and you know what I mean? But let me hear what he say. Raghunath added that Marbella South Vistabella councillor Marcus Gidhari, who has been confirmed as PNM candidate to contest the same seat in August 14 local government election, was just a one-term councillor. A waste of damn time. He said none of them had long standing with the UNC. So just like how, again, I don't have this kind of belly. I don't have this kind of belly. If you work with me, it's part of my company and thing, and you leave, all I say in boil is it's in thanks for your service. If you go up by a competitor, I've never stopped anybody once. We have had many, many employees. It's at times where we had contracts. We lose the contract to a competitor, right? And then the employees who was working with us under the contract are severed. I mean, we can't keep you if the contract not going on. I've never once stopped anybody from going and working on a competitor. And when I say the whole company, the whole organization, never. I've never done it and I'll never do it. Many, many times we lose contracts to competitors up to today. And they went and worked with the competitor, and me and them good. Everybody good. When I see you, how you're going, everything good. Although I want to hear a little thing and say, so what about one of the term comments? And I want a bit back for the contract, you know, and I can hire you back. I don't have this kind of thing in me. So all of a sudden, these was your golden boys, the win seat for you. Imagine you have a Arima Borough where you can't win a seat as you. I want to know how many times in the history of Arima Borough that UNC sent councillors with a win. He was a PNM man. He switched, come with the UNC, bring home one of the borough corporation seats. And you only just flippantly say, I'm at no young son, I'm at PNM anyway, that's a hell with them. They just basically turn their back on them. On his Facebook page, I just say here, no better time to leave the UNC. So he talk about Roberts and Naked. And I mean, I personally find it's a little difficult to listen to Anil Roberts on any issue except sports. I wish he would go back to doing sport and do the word segment and thing, which he was very good at and very, very entertaining. But it's a lot hard. And maybe it's a lot hard because me no diehard member, no party. I don't sometimes don't even care enough about a lot of the issues, to be frank, to be listening to him and the way he's carrying on and stuff. And he had to beat her in terms of difficulty to listen to, but boy, Naked beats him. I can't listen to Naked at all. I can't do it. He hard to watch. He hard to listen to. Yellow is not a color. Only let Naked wear a different color shirt too. I mean, I understand the supporter. We're not looking good. Nothing but Naked and looking. To think that he's a national football captain, one of the best players we ever had in the history of football in this country. And to hear how he's carrying on with these things, almost completely unconcerned about whether he making sense or he's songing good, or he gave away his whole image for the image of the party. And it's hard for me to talk about the PNM side as well, where it's just so anything, or let's just leave. We go make space for all and thing. But again, when election coming up, man, it start act funny, you know, where they willing to accept anything. I would love to see. I wish I had some kind of AI controller to make a video come out with Naked saying he fed up with the UNC and he not again with Kamala Prasad Bissessa, and all he want for this country is change and betterment. And I want to see if said Rowley and them go reach out to Naked and tell him come over. But salute to everybody. Best wishes. Do all you have to do. Earn all your money and make money and do well. The UNC looking to forge alliances, right? So, this from Gail Alexander in The Guardian. Gary and Gavin keep on forging alliance with the UNC. Now, when I see Gary, I think in Griffith. But when I see Gavin, I try to figure out, well, who Gavin? Gavin from which part? I know Gavin, I know Fatima, a man named Gavin Warren. I know he's a big basketball man and things. So me, you know, he joined the political party. Well, I said him, who is it? Gavin Medina, that part. I used to play football with. I know he's a man working Shell and BG, and I trying to figure out, Gavin joined the politics. Who Gavin? So let me read on further. This is talks among the UNC the opposition UNC, Gary Griffiths, or talks are on among the opposition UNC, Gary Griffiths' National Transformation Alliance, and Gavin Nicholas's Movement for National Development. Gavin Nicholas. That name sounds vaguely. This Gavin Nicholas used to be a what they had put he was an attorney general or some kind of thing. What is he used to do? He have a party too. Salute to you, yes. The Movement for National Development, MND, Movement for National Development. For a collaborative unity arrangement to contest the local government election. Guardian Media confirmed this yesterday following UNC Calypso Bises's confirmation that UNC has been holding discussions with other groups and at least 2 smaller political parties have approached the UNC. Speaking at UNC's Monday night report, Calypso Bisesa said some of her senior members had begun discussions with other parties. If we can come to an agreement in time for this local government election, we will fight as a united force. So it's more People's partnership, back in effect. Yesterday, NTA leader Gary Griffith was mum on talks with the UNC, but said generally, Mr. Landate has done so much to destroy and divide this great country. What the hell is Landate? He has done so much to destroy and divide this country. We have seen too much hatred, division, victimization, and intimidation in the last 8 years. Let the focus not be seen as simply uniting of parties. Let the common goals be that of uniting the nation. It starts now. Part of that is my reading. Part of that is a terrible statement. Guardian Media confirmed discussions were going on between the NTA and the UNC for a strategic alliance. I saw a little clip going around too with Inshan Ishmael. Inshan Ishmael talking to a caller who seemed to want to defend Philip Alexander. Philip Alexander has supporters, you know. That is one thing about politics too. If you stay in politics in this country, you could get a little bit of an audience, you know. And the man was basically saying that Philip Alexander is a better candidate than Gary Griffith. And it seemed as though Inshan Ishmael was there to defend Gary Griffith, and it looked like he and Philip is not friends no more because them fellas and them was partners, them fellas and them lined up together. I remember when they had a very high profile murder in the country, they came together and marched by the Red House, but it looked like they ain't getting along. Them fellas not too friendly again. So Inshan Ishmael seemed to be defending Gary Griffith a little bit, or at least I don't want to go as far as to say backing him, but he was defending him against the caller, saying Griffith is a better option. But I'm no doubt that UNC, if it's beneficial to them, will merge or join with anybody. They've done so in the past with great success too. So it kind of makes sense for her to continue to be open to aligning themselves with parties. But I'll say that when the People's Partnership was formed, it was let me see if I can remember what Mr. Shaq said. Mr. Shaq said it was the COP, the UNC, NJAC, and the TOP, right? You figure that acronym out for me. But the TOP definitely had a lot of traction, right? And was basically heading for control in Tobago if they didn't have it already. UNC is one of the biggest parties. They're 50-50 with PNM as the biggest parties in Trinidad. So they know what they bring into the table. And they can't lost their safe seats just so. And they contesting plenty of the marginals too. In the marginals is a fight. The winning marginal is back and forth. I'm not sure how much NJAC really brought to the table, to be honest with you. I mean, them fellas do good to squeeze themselves inside. But certainly, COP under Winston Dukaran had gained a lot of traction, particularly with people who were fed up of the PNM and UNC. And they were, in my lifetime of voting, I would have started a vote somewhere around 1998 is when I reached voting age, I guess. They would have been the only formidable third force, meaning PNM and UNC is a force. They will always fight one another. I think our great-grandchildren will see them still fighting one another. But correct me if I'm wrong, COP seemed to be the only real third option that had they run alone, which I believe they had run alone in an election before that, before they joined PP. Forgive me if I'm wrong about that, but I think they had contested a few elections by themselves, and you could see them gaining traction. I am not sure that we have any political party now that could add a whole lot to the UNC. Let's talk about Tobago, right? Forget Trinidad. Let's talk about Trinidad. Forget Tobago for a while, because I would be quite surprised, naively so maybe, if Farley form an alliance with the UNC. I hope he do that in a room with no electronic devices whatsoever, right? But I would be surprised at that. I think that will pull his political stock way down low because people expect that from Watson and might even accept it from Watson if the Tobagonians see Watson still in charge and he make a little alignment. I also feel Watson could sell it better and everything as the politicking part of it. Watson could talk his way out of that or talk people into believing that he doing it for Tobago's sake. And he not afraid to grand charge and play like he pulling out and do the whole song and dance to make sure that his supporters stay with him. But Farley ain't so suave, so I ain't seeing him joining. They could do with them 2 Tobago seats, but I feel like that was the deal with them and Watson too. Now Watson can't promise them nothing. So Watson not in this discussion for joining with UNC. I don't know how much political traction he have to say he could win anything in a local government election yet. He probably will get there. But Gary Griffith and them, boy, am I completely out of touch with what's going on the ground? Is Gary Griffith getting enough support to say they could add something to the UNC or help them win? I hear he come out and say he put in somebody in the whole local government election. Local government election is not 41 or how much ever people like the general election. It's about 2,000 councillors have in this country. Gary Griffith party, them know 2,000 people. Them Facebook page have 2,000 followers. Them men have 2,000 likes on Instagram. And once again, I now find out Gavin Nicholas. It had to be that Gary carpool with Gavin Nicholas to the UNC meeting. Because nobody in the UNC didn't agree to have no meeting with no Gavin Nicholas, the MND. Waste of time. But again, week by week, more of this is going to continue to come up. People, anybody who have, especially with traction on the ground, the councillor position, I feel like is one that is it fair to say that is like junior to regular parliamentarians and so on? But if you have a groundswell in your area, you could well become a councillor and you could have ambitions to become a councillor. So for instance, one of the people who I respect a lot is a fellow by the name of Jamil Biznat in St. James. I have a fellow named Jappa, who went up as a councillor. And people like Wendell, this is in St. James, right? People like Wendell, Jappo. And I see Owen St. Rose, my good partner Owen, going up as a councillor as well. No, listen, this is just for anybody who live in St. James, right? Somebody could get a stylist for Owen, please. Somebody could please. Anybody could just dress Owen. I see Owen, Jappo post a picture with Owen. I don't know what the hell Owen is wearing. Owen, you're not going to win no election dressed like that. Please. Only get Owen some red shirts and black pants fast soon, please. It's not looking good. It's not looking promising whatsoever. Owen St. Rose, but salute to Owen going up as a councillor. And you find that Jappa is a man as a St. James boy. When it's a cricket, Jappa organizing thing. When it's a football, Jappa organizing. Barbecue, party, who say, but Jappa is just a salt of the earth kind of St. James person. So you find that people who genuinely interested in the community, there's movers and shakers, they're very respectful, they know all the people in the community know them, they're probably involved in some kind of group. So Jappa was from Balma Hussein, right? That's where Jappa born and grow. So that kind of a groundswell to me is a better way through to get through to councillorhood or councillorship. But according to Jappa, when I first saw him and he tell me he running, Jappa come and meet me. I bounce him up in, I think it's Republic Bank car park on Independence Square. And he tell me, he say, boy, I'm looking for your support, boy, I'm going up for the politics and them kind of thing. And my thing was, Jappa, that real good. I'm glad he's already a councillor as far as I'm concerned. He's a doer in the community, always organizing something for somebody, making things happen. And I was like, well, Jappa, which party you going up with? Because I don't care if he went up independent, if he went up with UNC or he went up with PNM. He had my vote regardless. Turns out he went out the PNM, right? Because I don't know if some of the older people in St. James would have feel the same way. They would say Jappa wicked if he went up with anybody else. But that might be a better... I'm saying that to say, wouldn't it be any better interest of the parties to stay in contact with the communities so that they understand those movers and shakers in the community like Jappa and them, more than to try to align yourself with high-profile parties because Gary Griffith have a name and Gavin Nicholas have a name? If is that a good strategy to go forward for local government election rather than find somebody who everybody know in the area and everybody know this do work and willing to vote for them regardless of where they line up or what color shirt they're wearing? But I mean, who's me to know? we will continue to follow what happened in the local government election as we go along, right? But I really come here to play music, you know. Everything I talk about, I want all you to know is incidental. And my purpose is really to play music. And I did say that I wanted to play some songs that when you play it, people is dance. It's a dancing kind of episode. So I want to get this one.
Dancing, we go break up tonight. We coming out limbo dancing. Watch we love to do the neck dance. We love to do the elbow dance. Love to do the hand dance. We come to show the world how to break to the beat of Calypso. Join and let us do the limbo. People waking up, backbone waking up, headbone waking up, jawbone waking up, eyebone waking up. We come to show the world how to break to the beat of Calypso. Join and let us do the limbo. Oh yeah. They brought to compete against me, had to watch we and admire we. We love to do the back dance, we love to do the shoulder dance, we love to do the hand dance. We come to show the world how to break to the beat of Calypso. Join and let us do the limbo. People waking up, backbone waking up, neckbone waking up, jawbone waking up, handbone waking up. We come to show the world how to break to the beat of Calypso. Join and let us do the limbo. Break, 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 in Trinidad and Tobago and the rest of the Caribbean. When coming to Calypso, we just break slow, just so. We love to do the back dance. We love to do the shoulder dance. We love to do the neck dance. We come to show the world how to break to the beat of Calypso. Join and let us do the limbo. We go waking up, backbone waking up, neckbone breaking up, the shoulder breaking up, the jawbone breaking up.
And now to show the world how to the beat of Calypso. My elbow breaking up, my neck bone breaking up. Other news, not so much good news, huh? I tell you last thing, from the crime, but I couldn't help myself with this. They say 700 vehicles stolen in the first 5 months of 2023. That's January, February, March, April, May. Right? Look, what's the situation? So it's housebreaking by car theft. I told you all time and time before that I've lost 2 cars due to car theft, right? So these things just strike home with me when you see these kind of things. And when I say 700 in 5 months, right? I'm feeling like if this is something that we need to highlight and the emergency, there's an emergency going on. Something going desperately wrong, right? How much days in a month? About 30 on average. In 5 months is 150. 700 divided by 150. And we don't work on public holidays. So if I minus Carnival and all them kind of holiday, we have a short week right through, it will be even higher. But this is an average of about 5 cars a day getting stolen. This is cause for national emergency and concern. I was shocked when I see this. I was very surprised that when I looked at The Guardian published this, right? There's Darius Polo, senior reporter. Salute to her. But I found it strange that no way I was listening on the news or anything like this just ended up as a story, and it was like, all right, cool. 700 vehicles stolen. So the article says close to 700 vehicles were reported stolen across the country over the past 5 months of the year, according to statistics. I'm talking like Wayne Chanson. According to statistics provided by officers of the Stolen Vehicle Squad. They have a Stolen Vehicle Squad? Salute to all you. When they say Stolen Vehicle Squad, that the people who steal the vehicles, or that couldn't be the people responsible for making sure vehicles don't get stolen or recovering it when they do that. That'd be the thieves. Oh, no, they have the TTPS. Okay. Although no statistics were provided for 2022, the situation was described as worrying by the Assistant Commissioner of Police, Kent Gisha, him. Inspector Lloyd Lazarus and Sergeant Charlotte Julian on Thursday. Despite the high number of cars reported stolen, I don't know what the rest of this going to say, but it's bad. You shouldn't say despite nothing. 700, 5 a day is crazy. So don't say despite nothing, but okay. Less than 50% of them have been recovered. From January 1 to June 2023, there were 691 vehicles reported stolen. From these incidents, we had about 39% recovery rate of the stolen vehicle. Let me tell you something, right? One of the cars I had stolen was a B12. And months after, I want to say heading towards a year, somebody called me from the police station. Them days is a landline, right? I ain't sure it's not a cell phone call I get. Somebody call and identify themselves as officer, somebody or another, to ask me if I get back the car. They call and say, hey now, I calling from the St. James police station here. I know you had made a report about losing a vehicle. Well, I get excited, because that car, I will never forget, that car I could have get sold for $20,000. My mother tell me multiple times, sell that car getting too old and to give trouble, sell the car. What she didn't tell me is, sell the car and I will help you buy a next car. She just said sell the car. So all I picturing is walking as a young fellow. But I tell myself when I get a call, that means somebody find my car and I could put my hands on that little 20. You know what I mean? I could sell it. Even if I get 15, 10 for it, it's 10 more than I would have had if I'd never recovered the car. The man called me to ask me if I get back. Yes, salute to the recovery squad or whatever it is. So I'm not surprised when I see they say, oh, so a 39% recovery rate. That is not surprising, right? But now I'm wondering when I see this article if it wasn't just a research person in the police force who called together for research purposes. So I end up falling in the 61% who never get back nothing. They say, well, yeah, what's going on here? Barky down, that is one. He never get back nothing. This is strange. They said the Northern Division accounted for 34% of stolen vehicles, while the Central and Northern Divisions accounted for 18 and 12% respectively. Other officers said criminals have shown a preference for Nissan Tidas, making them the #1 stolen vehicle in the country this year, thus surpassing the Toyota Aqua, which held this position last year. I don't understand if you say you have no statistics for 2022, how you know the Aqua was the highest one for last year? I mean, it has some statistics. In respect to the most targeted vehicles, they're as follows. As you said, the Nissan Tida, followed by Toyota Aqua, and then AD Wagon, and then Nissan Wing Road. The Toyota Fielder also came in as well. In the area of vans, the Kia 2700 and the Hyundai H100 being the highest targets. So here we're going on, right? For all of you who are in the market to buy a car, right? It's clear that you should probably stay away from these types of cars because those are the ones the car is thieving for. So when you look at, listen, our country is just a reflection of the leadership and the culture of the country is the same, you know, because this is as much a dance as everything else that happened in this episode, because rather than an approach which says this is what we are going to do about it, the recovery rate has been low, we're working with Earl Christopher to make sure XYZ, most of the cars getting stolen from mall car parks. To put it in perspective for you, right? West Mall car park could hold 900 cars. So by half of the year, by the time we reach July, right? January, February, March, April, May, June. Hey, we pass half the year, we survive. This year passing fast. In half the year, them men could have thief out all the car in the whole of West Mall car park. Just to put this in perspective here, right? This is to show you how fast car moving in this country. It's fast and furious. What was the car with these? It's gone in 60 seconds because the whole of West Mall car park is whole 900 car. Just to put it in perspective, right? It's 900 of them the men say gone. But instead of a press conference or, you know what I mean, talks by Gishaiwan and Lazarus and these fellas to say, all right, here we're going on. These Tita and them moving fast, you know what I mean? Them selling like hot cake. Wing Road right behind. Aqua is this. And most of them stolen from mall car parks. So here what we doing? We increasing the presence in the mall car park. You remember at one point they used to put a big tall, like a crane police station. What is called the crane police station? They used to have one in Trinity Mall where they go up in a booth and them high above where they could see people. I don't know if they had a sniper or something to see if somebody thief somebody car, I could just pop them off or whatever. I don't know how it work. Or they say, boy, we increase the perimeter on this. Or 700 cars, hard to hide, right? 700 cars, hard to hide. So if they're doing investigations to see where them 700 cars end up, how it is the thing, if they have a chop shop somewhere, no mention of any of this was made in the video. But you know what they did say? Consider a GSM car alarm. Consider a GSM car alarm. This allows a message to be sent to the subscriber if the vehicle is broken into, and more popular option is to install a GPS tracking system, which allows the owner to know the precise location of the vehicle. And there are some features where the vehicle can be shut down immediately. Thank you so much for that information, Sergeant Julian. He's so kind. He's so kind. The police sergeant also highlighted their video that has been circulated that was captured by a Valsin resident. It showed neighbors chasing away car thieves using air horns. Air horns, air horns, air horns. He said neighborhood watch groups such as this one can reduce the number of vehicles being reported. Oh, so the problem is the number of vehicles being reported. I love it. This man say, out of his mouth, he said the neighborhood watch groups such as this one can reduce the number of vehicles being reported stolen in the country. In other words, always bothering these people. Why only being a burden to the police? Why only being a burden to the police? Sort out all yourself and stop calling the police. Stop calling the police. Stop calling the cops. Sergeant Julian also urged people to avoid casual strangers who might be over enthusiastic to help. None of these are bad pointers, right? Because I mean, my mother-in-law sent me a voice note going around about car theft in Shogunas here that said basically they using some kind of device to stop cars from starting. This particularly push to start cars, so interrupting the signal. And if you, when you're looking for trying to figure out what happened, somebody who just happened to think, say, hey, as a mechanic, you know, you're having a problem, blah, 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 and then they pull up in a white van and they've gone into your car, they might go with you and think the way things going. But granted that there's a level of frustration that the police force must feel. I'm not sure if given the pointers in isolation is the best approach to this. Maybe you should also say some plans that the police have to help us with this, to stop the criminal groups from forming, to stop where these vehicles being sold to. Just the other day, the men shut down a whole scrap iron industry because they had to stop the demand, right? They stop it at the demand point. Since they shut down the industry and they meet with the stakeholders and so on, When I say shut down the demand, they stop people from being able to buy scrap iron from this country or stop people from being able to sell it, thereby removing the incentive to go and steal bell from church and one floodgate from under city gate or wherever the hell that come from. So if it is 700 cars being stolen, it means that there's a high demand for either stolen cars or stolen parts, or just a high demand for mayhem, I guess, in a country, which I'm pretty sure that we do. So what is this step here to curb the demand side of this equation, so that where are these cars going? Are there people who out here trying to buy stolen cars? When I buying a used car, am I to believe that I could be buying a car that was stolen and don't know? I'm not sure how come none of this was said in this article, but I will tell you that the stolen vehicle squad can be reached at 6270729, and you will be calling them for statistical purposes to tell them that your car got stolen, which will be bothering them anyway, so you probably have to leave a voice note or a voice message. I wish I had my WhatsApp number and make this easier for me. And what you could do too is call them every now and again to tell them you're still in get back or you get back, so they know if to put you in the 39 or 61%, because clearly we have to take matters into our own hands. Yeah, sort out yourself, put your GPS on your car, put in shift locks, interior monitoring system, a GSM car alarm, get these kind of things, you know what I mean? Go by these fellas, Dirk Barnes and them. He had no political party. Go by Dirk Barnes and them and set up, I think the name of his company was Air something. And he used to show you how them run down people and heavy guns when they thief your car. But I'm wondering if Julian and let me get the people's name right, Lazarus and Gishawan and these fellas, all they ever thought of saying, all right, well, here we're going on. Encourage people to pay in GPS, right? But when that car's stolen, let them call the police, give them the GPS information, and don't intercept the people. When you know where the stolen car is, go and watch where it's pulling up. Go and watch the scene, where it is, where it went. Don't even stop them. When you see them scrapping it down, watch, observe. And then watch where the parts go. And because you don't, in other words, you don't want to go and, in the 39%, you might be arresting low-level operatives who running and just breaking in a car and thief it and them kind of things. What we want to get to is the 700. We want to get to the source of it. What is causing the demand? Let it go all the way where it had to go. And then charge the highest person in the ring with receiving stolen goods and a conspiracy thing and a car theft ring and to sell stolen goods or to ship it out of the country or to ship it in the bamboo or wherever you might want to send, right? We had 700 opportunities to see where these cars going. The whole of Westmore car parking. Anyways, again. I here to play my little Calypso. I never here for these kind of issues. No, I don't know how I get suckered into these kind of issues. But when the song and dance looking like this, you had to find some special ones. Last couple of weeks, I played one of the greatest dancing songs it's ever had. So I ain't go here again by the great Colin Lucas, who gave it Dollar Wine, right? One of the greatest calypsos ever, or soca, whatever you want to call it, all over the world. You could go and hear the original and several versions of Dollar Wine all over the place. People love it. Tourists love it. Is true Kaiso, true Calypso, right? But that's not the man only dancing song.
I take away from preacher, two from super blue. They jump up on one spot from the some room. That was like for my work. Well, that is a borrow, but don't get a horror. I go pay back tomorrow. You better pay back tomorrow. I'm coming rough, I'm coming hard, I'm coming tough, I'm coming bad. This carnival will be radical. I'm coming stiff, I'm coming strong, I'm coming swift and I'm coming down. This festival will be bacchanal. I come with a dance to mash up the place. No, this is your chance. Jump up and kick up, then do the butterfly. Now jump up on one spot and make your tumble fly high. Do the eye butterfly, shadow, wave, everybody. Yes, blue. They jump up on one spot. From the song red through. That was time for my walk. That's just a borrow. But don't get a horror. I'm gonna pay back tomorrow. You better pay back tomorrow. So come with the Iowa. Fly. Shadow. Wave. Everybody. 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 Yeah. Oh, get on. Get on. Get on. Get on. Get on. Get on. It could be mad, it could be wild. When I jump this soca style, they go pick away. Wine and ramage. It could be hot, it could be sweet. When I jump them on the street, they go jump around. Wave and tumble down. So now is the time to mash up the dance. This is your time to get up and dance. So jump up and go, then do the butterfly. Jump up on one spot and make your tumble fly. High, high, high. Do the Iowa butterfly. Shadow, wave, everybody, get on, get on, get on.
You know, I really didn't like that song when it come out. I remember when that song come out, I was like, what nonsense is this? And that ended up being a song again, like Dollar Wine that last Feb. I hope Lucas make good money on royalties now. What Kevin doing? Must see if I can get a $1 or $2. All right, one of the biggest stories for the week. I have a few cultural things to talk about, and I must salute Angus Eve again, as always. You know, I mean, the man pull off a 0-0 against Haiti. I think that's the last game we have running into the Gold Cup. Gold Cup supposed to start kind of like end of next week, so it's USA and Jamaica. We draw with Jamaica recently. I think we beat them one game and draw with them a next game, and we didn't really play against USA too great in a long time. A lot of critique going around about his selection and so on. The man come out and say, I am not no Guardiola, but my style is working. I want to say he is my Guardiola. Play who you want. Don't study them fellas and them Jelani Beckles. Play whoever you feel. Don't study none of these reporters. Don't study none of them. Play who you feel and beat people. And let me see if we could get out to this stage of the Gold Cup. That will be amazing. When was the last time Trinidad run up at the Gold Cup? Probably in run up to the qualifying in 2006. And you know the goal. We have the eye on the prize, right? Canada, Mexico, USA. We eye on the prize. But the biggest story in the country this week, or the biggest social media story, right? Apparently, people are very upset with RIK, right? People not feeling the bookstore. Everybody's upset. Now, the most surprising thing for me in this story is that they actually still have bookstores. I was very surprised at this. But on RIK's Facebook page, a lot of people went to the Facebook page to attack them based on what one very astute social media reporter. I was reading this week that the reporter is going to be one of the jobs that fade into oblivion in time to come as well. Well, both between artificial intelligence and the ground reporters now, like myself, or people who just take picture or make videos and so on. Like all the videos come out in Stink and Dutty. You feel like you're there, little Byron Messiah. You know what I mean? So Annie run out, if voice cast, you see, you feel like you was in the fete. Little fight, little drunkenness, and people that get total plenty accident. Imagine a big accident on Norfolk Street in Belmont. Like, well, it was hurrying going down again, an accident out there, but it seems as though Stink and Dutty can't be incident free. I remember last time they had Stink and Dutty, when people was leaving the stadium, somebody get gunned down on the highways, like they can't, but there's too much people. I reach the age where any event that's so big is not for me. You know what I mean? But it's saying that reporters might be a thing of the past because of social media and armchair reporters like myself and other people who just post things on social media. And the combination of that and AI might get the artificial intelligence based on a whole lot of media posts and so on to put together. And I'm talking about, when I say posts, video, pictures, as well as what is said and was said in the comments. They're saying AI might be able to write a more balanced story than a regular journalist. But the social media journalists take over here. I'll tell you a little bit more about AI before we're done here, right? But the social media journalists take over here. And they went and they take pictures inside a RIK, right? And inside the RIK, one of the books, they make sure and take a picture of the back of the book, and they make sure and show you a RIK sticker on it showing what RIK is selling, right? And the book seems to be targeted to children. One of the headlines of the book reading, "You are a rainbow too." And to tell you the truth, that might be my most quoted statement for the rest of the year. So anybody who get me vexed and them kind of thing, people want to play like the crossing the floor, me, I'm going to say, boy, use a rainbow too. You know what I mean? That's my new statement for the. But is the outfit? Is the outfit on the back of the UR rainbow too? Anybody who abroad, or if you didn't see this here, just go on Facebook and put in RI. I mean, if you're abroad, you mightn't see this. How likely is I remember to put this in the episode description, boy, where you could click and see it. I'll try and put a link to the Facebook post where you could see it, right? But you had to see it for yourself. Because I want to say he's a man, but I'm frightened to talk. You know what I mean? I'm frightened to say he's a man. Because who me have on a platform shoe high, Prince would be proud. A very short pants. The belt is a Rasta belt, but it's a rainbow Rasta belt. It's hanging like a Rasta belt, but it's nice green and gold. It's the whole rainbow. The tall socks is rainbow. The vest looking like something a woman would wear. The fan, you know, them woman like fan now. The long time my grandmother used to carry these fans to church. We used to call them fan. Where it's be in your hand and then you open it out and you fan with that. I used to be so ashamed. My grandmother gave me this fan to go and fan in church. I have a man me holding no fan, but this man holding it for a woman. You know what it is. And a rainbow jersey, a little vest, a little bandana, 2 love shades, and a beard. So whoever designed this, they do good. They cover all the bases. They cover all the bases of gender fluidity and so on, right? These is major issues now, you know, because the concern from parents these days, I guess it has always been, is the agenda that being pushed to children in the schools. Now, the front of the I Am Rainbow book now have somebody who looking to me more like a girl who dressed in a similar kind of outfit. But I boy me, you know, boy, these things hard to decipher, you know. Another book here named Identity and Gender. This not looking targeted to children because it's very. The I Am Rainbow is cartoony in the images, while this one have real people and have somebody in front of a plane and whatsoever it is. But those things are typically not very appealing to children. But let's talk about sex. Looking cartoonish and so on by Robbie Harris. Go and look for Robbie, R-O-B-I-E, Harris, and Michael Emberley. Emberley is E-M-B-E-R-L-E-Y. And look for the book. The name of the book is Let's Talk About Sex. You see that little child looking, right? And it's saying changing bodies, growing up, sex, and sexual health. So that's a book that RIK is selling and seems to be targeted to children. What else they have here? I want to get the whole picture before I give you my opinion or not. One of them named Heartstopper. Heartstopper is a little cartoonish too, but looking like it targeted more older children. And it's heavy man and man holding hands and so on, you know what I mean? Everybody back turn, right? Fittingly. And the holding hands and so on is for children. I don't know if there's it's either a book or a puzzle. It's looking like it's a book. And the last one I want to read for you, right? This is by Rainbow Rowell. Rainbow Rowell. Go and look for Rainbow, R-O-W-E-L-L. So the quote is quoted as saying, absolutely delightful, sweet, romantic, and kind. Beautifully placed. I love this book. Okay, so Rainbow Rowell is the author of the book, or this is a reader who's saying this? Anyway, the back of the book have a little boy standing up in the rain in a Tokyo jersey. Cartoon kind of drawing as well. And it says, Nick and Charlie are best friends. I could do this like one of them, you know when people who do Little Mermaid and thing, the trailers? I could do this like a trailer. I wonder if I had that in my body development skills. Now. Nick and Charlie are best friends, but one spontaneous kiss has changed everything. I wish Charlie would. In the aftermath, Charlie thinks he's made a horrible mistake and ruined his friendship with Nick. But Nick is more confused than ever. Love works in surprising ways, it does. And Nick comes to see the world from a whole new perspective. Nick gets turned out. He discovers all sorts of things about his friends, his family, and himself. Nick discovers a lot of things about his friends, his family, and himself. This is one of the books. And whoever is the social media journalist who holding up this book to put up here is poorly manicured, but they're holding up the book to tell a story, right? I want you to just imagine what the comments look like before you even go to the Facebook page. People was very upset, you know what I mean? And people went at RIK in the comments. Now, RIK did not post any of these books. On RIK's homepage, they was doing the normal social media thing. They was just promoting wherever it is they're promoting. And people jump in RIK comments. A page that is typically get very few comments. And then all of a sudden there are a whole lot of comments and a whole lot of shares and people calling for a boycott of RIK, right? People saying all the wicked and this all they doing the trend and all they supporting this thing, and you know how that is going, right? RIK response to it was to post a little Tuesday motivation and a book by Mark Mason by the name of The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F, right? A counterintuitive approach to living a good life. So I suppose whoever is RIK social media person, they having a good time. They enjoying this. They get a little publicity. Some books will sell. I see a lot of people say, man who don't read no book, or like me, so who can't read at all, planning to boycott RIK. And otherwise, we really planning to do. A lot of people jumped on this bandwagon, but RIK will surely get some sales or at least some publicity because, again, unless it's school season where you have to go there and buy books, I don't know who is going in RIK to buy a book. They must only make sales around Christmas time and people selling things, but people are upset. And I kind of want to hear what people's thoughts on this. I have a short set of thoughts on this. You see, the issue of, well, call it homosexuality, right? Is one that is all over the place in my mind. My first stance on this comes from the standpoint of people first. A person is a person long before there's anything else, right? And I respect people. I love people. I want everybody to do good. I want everybody to be safe. I want every time me and you bongs up, we must be able to smile. I like when the first thing we could do is smile and even laugh, because we must share some memories together and have things that we can laugh about. Nothing better than when you see a friend who you ain't seen in a long time, and the first thing you could do is laugh and smile and enjoy something with that person. You know what I mean? Whatever, even if it's just a memory or it's in passing. I try to live that way. I also, people tell you about life, like trying to find your purpose in life, right? And for a long time in my life, when I hear the word purpose, I always used to think of purpose in terms of money or career. Like, when people say, what's your purpose? I always used to think of purpose as my job or what I should do or career, how I make money or passion, I should say. When people say, find your passion, I used to be thinking about it as things that could be monetized. But the question is, does your passion have to be something that is monetized or can be monetized? And I'm starting to learn and accept that those two things are two completely different things, right? They almost have nothing to do with one another. Your passion is your passion. Whether it could be monetized or not, what difference would it make? So, and I learning this again from my experience now in editing or producing the Conspiracy or Goodness podcast on behalf of the Goodness Exchange. And, because I do the podcast for them, I get to learn or hear from perspectives from people who I would not typically have come across or listen to. And one of them is a gentleman by the name of Naipun Mehta. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I don't think the episode is published yet, right? So I don't want to give away the source too fast. But if you look him up online, you'll realize that his statement of passion or his statement of purpose is that my life is an attempt to bring smiles in the world and silence in my heart. I want to live simply, love purely, and give fearlessly. That is me. I kind of like that statement. I feel like that describes me a lot. I just want to talk and laugh and have a good time and play some music and enjoy myself, meet different people, have different experiences, enjoy people. And if I had to sum up my purpose or my passion in life, I always tell people, when I close my eye, the party must go on. So I live in a way where my friends, I like them to intermingle. You know what I mean? I like when me and you is friend, and I meet a brethren over so and all of his friend, and then all they become better friend than me, all the linemen without me now. And that's cool to me. I feel good about things like that, where I have friends who have become friends way, way better than me. So long before you start to tell me about race, color, gender, sexuality, or any of them things, to me, a person is just a person. So it's hard for me, especially when you look at what was taught in religions. Like they keep me in all kind of religion, and they make me Anglican, and then they send me Catholic school, and then they send me Ebenezer in the evening. They try with me, and I see a whole lot of it. I beat drum for who say I try to join that. I see a lot of them, and I've learned a lot from religion over the years. But some of my questions around religion was about these same things, like how are there so many things for which people can be condemned? And that goes for me for many, many things. If keep in mind that I would say, for instance, hate the rape, love the rapist. As harsh as that is how I try to live. I would love to understand. I don't want to meet. I mean, I would be a little frightened, right? But what I'm saying is, I would rather hear the thought process behind somebody who does who does great harm to others. I would love to hear their thought process and so on, more than just to quickly condemn the person. So because of my philosophy and my stance on that and thing, I mean, when you close your door and you make a love, make care who on the next side of that door. Once that thing legal and consenting to all you do all your thing, yes, that has nothing to do with me. That is not my issue and so on. And I typically leave it at that. Gender identity is another an area where, again, it's cloudy for me. Like I'm not understanding, and maybe it's not for me to understand, but the fact that you born as a boy but feel like a girl, that's your call. I don't think gender identity is an issue at all. I think identity crisis. Salute to my boy Edmund, who had called me on an episode I had done about Dave Chappelle some time ago. And he has done a lot of work on diversity as well as part of what he does as an organization. He tends to live like that too. He tends to be very pragmatic and measured in terms of what he says about people. I've never heard him condemn anybody like that either. But he was talking about the fact that our identity crisis is not a new thing. While gender identity is contentious, identity crises are things that we see all the time. And he used the example of Mario Balotelli, who is an Italian footballer who identifies as an Italian because he was born on his circumstances and he was raised in Italy. He loves Italy. He wants to play for Italy national team. You know what I mean? He speaks Italian, you know? But what you see on the outside does not look like an Italian. He looked very, very African. Or wherever part of Africa he come from, he looked just like that. Right? If you remember Mario Balotelli. So that is again an identity crisis where you're living in a world where on the inside you feel like an Italian, but on the outside the world sees you and treats you as black. That must be a difficult position. So if I born as a boy and the whole world treated me like a boy because I look like a boy on the outside, but I know on the inside, I feel like a girl, I could see why people like that would have many, many issues. And people talk about Dwayne Wade and his children and what needs to be done. And I mean, I understand where identity crisis can exist. And I'm comfortable with it existing in the world that I exist in. And I believe everybody should still be safe and be okay. Where the line get a little blurry for me and cloudy is when, again, I had to quote Dave Chappelle, like, to what extent do you expect me to participate in your identity crisis? And I use the word expect because that expectation comes with a lot, right? So in other words, if I bounce you up today and I watching a man, right? All the thing I know, I grew up 40 something odd years, I know what a man look like. And you tell me you're a girl. As my friend or even somebody who I just bounce up, I go try my best to call you a girl. And he and she and so on, and she and her and whatever you want me to call it. I will try my best to do that. But I'm telling you now, I'll make a lot of mistakes. Because just out of habit and 40-something years, it is going to take me a long time to realize you're a girl. I might get there eventually. I probably will. Once I practice it long enough, as with everything else, I could get there. But I'm not understanding the expectation side of it. Because that's me. Many people will not. So my thing about it is, if you go around with this expectation that the whole world must acquiesce to every issue that you have, you're going to have a problem. It does not matter what the issue is. It doesn't matter if you have a gender identity issue or race identity issue. Well, let me personalize it, right? For me, I can live my life in a way where I have an expectation of this world that every issue that I have, the world must conform to and adjust to. And if the world don't adjust to it, it's vitriol, it's hatred, and you know what I mean? I return the hatred by making sure you don't have a career, you don't have a job, you can't play sports. That is not beneficial for me. You don't put it like that, right? That is not. I can't. There's no usefulness of that. I rather look inside myself and say, well, okay, all these issues that I have or burdens that I carry, how can I either use them to my benefit, set them aside, whatever the things are? That's for me a more empowering way to live. Again, to advance it, I am worried when you see these kind of things agendas that being pushed to schools and to children and so on. Not worried from the standpoint that they're done, because I do believe that they should be done. When you talk about the idea of sex education, this is why Miss Naldo and Jude and them, I heard them say something on their podcast at time where about sex education and make me question my own stance on it. Where they said, what we want in schools is not sex education. He said, what you want is your views on sex taught to the children in school. And that's an unfair way to look at it. I think it's a great statement because, and he was right when it comes to the way I was thinking about it. Because what happens if there's a sex ed course in school that sensitizes children to what sex is about and what was the purpose of it and how it's to be done or whatsoever it is like a tutorial then? What happens when the course covers things that you don't necessarily agree with as a parent? And this is the issue that we're discussing now. These are issues of sexuality that we as parents in Trinidad and Tobago may not necessarily agree with or want our children to know about at all. So the thing about it is, if once you introduce sex education on the curriculum, I don't see how you could do that in the context of today's world and not tell them about the actual sex education, which is man and man, man and woman, woman and woman. I want to make a line clear, right? There are plenty blurry lines, but I want to say that clearly. I'm not talking about adults and children, right? I'm only referring to adult consent in relationships, right? But when you do sex education in schools, what you're talking to children about is adult consensual relationships. Just that it's heterosexual and accepted, and what we might be more comfortable promoting to children. I don't want to use the word promoting either. To sensitizing children to is adults who have enough money and life experience and find one person in their life that they marry under their religious rights, and they do that for the rest of their life and just have sex with that one person forever and ever. Amen. And when that person dead, hold it until you're dead too. You're going to be them in the afterlife, right? I think that would be what we're most comfortable teaching as sex education. And that's because of our own viewpoints or philosophies that probably heavily influenced by religion and our own upbringing and culture and so on. So when I saw this and I see people's reaction to RIK and RIK right in the moment, I tell you, RIK posts averaging about 19-20 comments. When they post that thing, is about 700 comments because the LBGTQ, them come out. Them come and wave flag any comments, and other people who don't like that come and wave flag any comments too. But I'm more interested in where's people's general stance on this, or where's people take. Should it be that we remove any adult discussions from school as a whole in totality when it comes to sex and sexuality? Or should we sensitize the children to everything that's there? Because I looking at my son, they are a lot more informed than me. I remember he tell his grandmother at the time, the grandmother say, boy, it's time for your mother and them to make a next child. You know what I mean? You have to pray and tell Jesus send a child with the stalk for you, stalk this bring children. And my son must be 9 years old at the time. He said, Granny, I know how children come. She said, well, what do you mean how they come? He said, Mommy and Daddy have sex and died out. But I frightened like hell when I heard I said, well, what kind of bad influence they see is that was me. That was absolutely her. And the reality is that whether we expose him to it, and that's our philosophy about how this thing should be done, right? Whether we expose him to it or not, he is going to be exposed to it. And that's the truth about our philosophy, that what we like and what we feel he should do. That is also true about what we don't like and what we don't feel he should do at all. We find he should not bring no man in this house. He's going to be exposed to that as well. And the thing about it is, sensitizing people to things is not the same as promoting the thing, right? And I don't want to come across as in defense of either side. I'm distilling an idea here, so stay with me. Sensitizing somebody to something is not the same as promoting the thing. Look how they sensitize me to maths I can't pass up to today. I don't understand. I don't know. It's not for me. They sensitize me to accounts, econ, or operations. I choose marketing and I went in that direction. I choose lecturing. So sensitizing people to things, I'm not sure that we should be so fearful or so feel that everything is so harmful Or, the comments is heavy. Well, Jesus had to come now because God had to save the world. We take in the last days. And I understand that you'll get some of that from a religious perspective. But my open question to everybody is there a way to do this that will enrich the lives of the children or sometimes even the adults, to enrich our lives and sensitize us to what is really happening in the world, how some people really view the world and how people see the world? Or is it just, people say that this is just a gateway, a slippery slope towards pedophilia, because what they're trying to do is easy in all the different agendas until they say outright, or they could marry children now, which already happened in Trinidad and Tobago by chance. But we in a society where we like to do things, but we don't like to say that more always do. And I feel like that is the more dangerous of the two. But all you go tell me how you feel, right? Pretend I never say nothing about this. I just want to talk about two more things and get out of here quick. Because I saw an article from Isaba Small in the Express that spoke about the great Calypso Rose. The headline read is a musical that has been put off for too long for one reason or another. But on June 17th, veteran reggae practitioner Roma Spencer will finally get to show what she's been working on since 2019, the workshop production Queen of the Road, the Calypso Rose musical. Coincidentally, Calypso Rose part of this community, how you talking about, self-proclaimed, right? She said the event presented by the Queer and Trans Research Lab at Mark S. Bonham Center for Sexual Diversity Studies in the University of Toronto in partnership with Tobago Performing Arts Company and the Canadian Caribbean Arts Network. This is the longest sentence ever written. It's scheduled for the Heart House Theatre, Heart House Circle, Toronto. This musical was to happen in 1996, the year after I did Baseman, the Mighty Shadow musical in Trinidad and Tobago, Spencer told the Express Kitchery magazine. At that time, it was to be called Fire Fire, and it never happened. The inspiration to finally get on to writing is when Rose won the Victoire de la Musique Award French Grammy in 2017. And what seems like a revival of Calypso Rose and her music in the past 10 years. I was in awe at that age. She was literally living out her suitcase, touring the world singing Calypso at that age. Rose, the workshop production, focuses on the Tobago singer's struggle to carve a Calypso niche for herself in a patriarchal environment and how through her tenacity she overcomes it all, Spencer said. It also wants to bring to the fore her activism towards gender equality in her music. What struck me most about my interviews with her is how much she wanted to return power to our women because she was tired of Sparrow's treatment of women in his songs. You know what I mean? So, salute to Calypso Rose. I hear somebody say the other day, well, salute to Roma Spencer, of course, and Calypso Rose. And hopefully this musical, I believe they said is last month, they put it on in Toronto, sorry. So hopefully this gets enough support to become a world tour. You know what I mean? You could get a little slice of it right in Napa or Sapa or somewhere and see what it's saying. But just another quote. She said, an aha moment came over me. My residency will be to create the Calypso Rose musical. After all, Rose came out, a metaphor, well, she came out at the age of 72. And as a queer artist myself, this project will more than qualify. So this was her talking about the same Trans Research Lab. Let me read the whole thing so we can get right. When the University of Toronto Mark Bonham Center for Sexual Diversity Studies put out a call for its Queer and Trans Research Lab assistant in residence for its 2022-23 semester, Spencer knew that she had to apply. So she was talking about it in the context of the institution, right, and why she chose this project. But again, if Rose had to go through these issues in if he's 72, when he was all 20 and thing, when he started to realize he's a big woman and his woman they like and them kind of thing, and Sparrow and them bad talking woman a kind of way and acting like woman belong to man. Imagine carrying something like that for those among the years and only being able to come out at 72. All right, last but not least, I want to talk about Carrie Nash as well. Salute to them. And I'm hoping that we could get a chance to spot that show at some point in time. Of course, I will be there. I want to take it in and care what you say. All right, I'll leave it there, I'll leave it there on open questions. I hope I get feedback on that and how they feel about it. I think I suspect I know how people will feel already. So let come on it, let me see. If I get enough all the feelings, we can discuss it again next week. And if I ain't seen nothing from nobody at all, somebody in the YouTube comments, right? If nobody say nothing about this, we discussing it next week again for sure. Because taking that to mean that all you're not saying nothing, so that me ain't gonna say nothing about it and we could never have this topic again. But let me know how you feel. Can I leave you with the greatest dance song. I mean, Dollar Wine is probably the greatest dancing song we ever had, right? But my biases would never allow me to admit that. So I'll leave volume with the greatest dancing song. All right, give Dollar Wine the greatest dancing song. But the greatest dance ever created in Trinidad and Tobago is as follows.
Hey, we run, I water. Jump, 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 jump. Hey, hey, hey. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Come again, oh God, oh God. Jump over, hey, hey, hey. If you come here to party, hey, do the I want, do the I want. You have to do the I want. If you come here to spree, do the I want, do the I want. You have to do the I want. Hey, hey, I know everybody know how the I want dancers go. And if you forget, I wanna show you. Now watch me, jump up and kick up. Hey, hey, this place have to mash up. And let me take a dry run now. And we go take a dry run now. And let me take a dry run. Let me take a dry run. 1, 2, 3, jump up and kick up. Hey, this place have to mash up. Hey, jump up and kick up. This place have to mash up. Put your hand in the air and jump. Put your hand in the air and jump. Break your hand, everybody. Let me see you. 1, 2, 3, jump up and kick up. This place have to mash up. Hey, jump up and kick up. This place have to mash up. I want time. Jump, 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 jump. Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God. Come again, oh God, oh God. Hey, if you come here to get on bad, do the I want, do the I want. You have to do the I want. I say bad, 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 bad. Do the I want, do the I want. You have to do the I want. Hey, hey, I know it's carnival. You love your bacchanal, and you come out to get on bad. Well, watch me, jump up and kick up. Hey, hey, this place have to mash up. I'll let me take a next try now. I'm gonna take a next try now. I'll let me take a next try. Let me take a next try. 1, 2, 3, jump up and kick up. Hey, this place have to mash up. Hey, jump up and kick up. This place have to mash up. Put your hand in the air and jump. Put your hand in the air and jump. Raise your hand, everybody. Let me see you. 1, 2, 3, jump up and kick up. This place have to mash up. Hey, jump up and kick up. This place have to mash up. I want time. Jump, 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 jump. Hey,
Hey, all you have a good week, you know. I wishing everybody a good week. Everybody stay safe. It's rainy season, let's stay dry. And for the people in Trinidad and Tobago, we have to work from now until the 1st of August. Try and be productive. Try and stop all this at a short week. Let me vote for the local government election for somebody who will stop all this at a holiday every week, and then Monday is a holiday, and then next week Tuesday a holiday. If we could actually work a full week, that would be nice. But all you have a good time, keep all yourself good, and I will see you all in next week. Bye.
now watch me, jump up and kick out. Hey, hey, make a 5 pound jump out. I'll let me take a next try now. It's the final count now. This is the final count, it's the final count. 1, 2, 3, jump up and kick up. This place have to mash up. Hey, jump up and kick up. This place have to mash up. Put your hand in the air and jump. Put your hand in the air and jump. Put your hand, everybody, everybody. 1, 2, 3,
Jump up and kick up. This place starts to mash up.